All right, so now we're going to talk about dividing fractions. So if we're dividing fractions, we need to know about the reciprocal, because when you divide fractions, you use the reciprocal and then you multiply with it. So here's our key idea. Okay, the key idea is if you want to divide a fraction by a fraction, you multiply the first term by the reciprocal of the second term. So there's a lot of big words in here, so let's break it down. So to divide fraction by a fraction. So when I'm dividing fractions, so like let's just use some algebraic fractions. A over b divided by c over d. Ooh, that was a bad c and that's a bad d. I'm going to write them again. C over d. To divide a fraction by a fraction, multiply the first term by the reciprocal of the second term. So I need to rewrite it. I keep the first term, which is the a over b, and then I multiply by the reciprocal of the second term. And remember from the last video, reciprocal means that I flip that term. So I'm going to flip c over d. So d over c. And then when I multiply this, it becomes a times d over b times c. Okay, and the reason why this works for fractions is that multiplication and division are inverse operations. So if you invert one of the fractions, you undo the inverse operation. So that's how that works. So let's do an example of it. Okay, so for our first example of dividing fractions, we're going to have 3/4 divided by 5/12. So I'm going to take the steps from the last one. So I keep the first fraction the same. So keep the first term, 3/4. And then I multiply the inverse of the second one. So I need to inverse this. So instead of 5 over 12, it's going to become 12 over 5. And then I multiply straight across. So 3 times 12 is 36. And 4 times 5 is 20. So this becomes 36/20. And that would be my answer to that division problem. So some things that I want to note is that you might have heard this abbreviation when you were in elementary school, and maybe not, but there's something called keep, change, flip. Now keep, change, flip refers to this key concept up here, okay, where you keep the first fraction like we did here, you change the division to multiplication, and you flip or invert the second fraction. Okay, so keep the first fraction, change division to multiply, and then flip or invert the second fraction. And that's how you divide fractions. Keep, change, flip. Okay, so let's do a second example. What if one of my numbers is a whole number? For example, 4/5 divided by 2. Now I feel like I'm in trouble, but I'm not really. Okay, so I'm going to start by rewriting. I keep the first fraction, 4/5. I change the multiplication or the division to multiplication. And then I need to flip 2. However, 2 is not written as a fraction, so I don't have things to flip. So what I need to do is rewrite a whole number as a fraction, because remember, whole numbers are fractions too. So this becomes 2 over 1. And now I can invert it. Now I can change it so it becomes 1 over 2, or 1/2. And then I multiply straight across. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 5 times 2 is 10. So 4/10 is the final fraction for that one, okay? So that's how you would do it if you had whole numbers or if you had fractions. So here's an example problem I want you to try. All right, try 2/5 divided by 9/10. Pause this video and then come back and I'll give you the answer. Hopefully you've paused. This should become 2/5 times 10 over 9, which is 20 over 45. That's what you should have gotten. Awesome, you guys. Let's go to work.